mom's 100th and my
Oh,
birthday on Monday.
congrats. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty big deal. And it was all surprises, which is exhausting. It's exhausting, creeping.
Right.
So she got on her flight yesterday morning, and I've just been like trying to just revive myself. I'm on vacation from work, but I go back on Friday, so I'm trying to get myself together. So
Need a couple of days.
oh yes, it's a lot. It was great. It was fun. It was the best that's happened to me in the last year and a half of being isolated and all that. So I was like, whatever, let's just do it, and then I can rest later. So
Right.
anyway, you probably saw my text, got my video, and
I did.
I
Thank
hope
you so
that's
much.
not too long.
I didn't see how long it was. I'll check it when I get to the office.
Okay.
But I'll let you know if I need any modifications.
Okay, it's kind of long. It was
because I didn't even start putting everything together yet, so don't worry about it.
Okay, good. And May, you could chop, whatever you need to do, but it is 2 minutes long.
Oh, okay.
But I covered the points you asked for.
Okay,
so
that sounds great. Okay, I should be able to fit that in. Okay, let me thumbs up when you're ready. I'm gonna go off screen because I'm dealing with the little one. Okay, perfect.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, DeJur. How are you?
I'm grateful to be here. I just did my 65th time around the sun on Monday, so I'm honored. I'm just happy to be alive, especially in these times right now. I'm glad you came to class. Thank you. So we'll get started now. I want to say good morning to my UMA Community Clinic family. My name is DeJur Jones. I'm a yoga therapist, and we'll be doing some accessible yoga. Accessible just means suitable for most age ranges, most experience in yoga or no experience in yoga, physical condition, none of that matters in my class. I just want you to try to get some nice stretches into this morning, and also just see that yoga is not just for a certain type of people that you might have seen on TV or on the magazine covers. It's actually for everyone, but it is marketed to a certain type of people because they take everything. So, but yoga is definitely for all. I teach in places where seniors live and they're locked in because they're mentally ill or mentally disabled. And so yoga is for them. I teach foster care girls. Yoga is for them. I teach in the jails and prisons. And yoga is for them. And I teach people that used to be in jails and prisons. Yoga is for them. And it is for the mainstream crowd too. But my focus is on what we call marginalized groups of people that are pushed to the edges, or groups of people that are intentionally forgotten about. It's a plan and it's not a plot. It's definitely a plan that is put together by those in charge to kind of wipe out the rest of us. So yoga is actually for all of us. And as I mentioned, I just turned 65 on Monday. Oh my God, where has the time gone? But it has an anti-aging property to it as well. And I think I'm enjoying that. I've been enjoying it for a while, but where I don't believe that I am my number. So we want to also some precautions, just to make sure that you take care of yourself as we go through our class. That means I invite you to do a shape or a pose or a move that you know is going to hurt you, or if you have an injury and this shape, move, or pose can re-injure you. I want you to either not do it at all, or I want you to experiment and go into it in an experiential kind of way. Just kind of ease into the shape and see how things feel. Yoga should not create any pain. I don't believe any fitness plan or program should hurt, even though we've heard that tagline, no pain, no gain. But in yoga, that is definitely not true. Pain is your body's way of saying that I don't know what you're doing, but it is too much for us right now. So if you have any pain, please be mindful of that. Take a break when you need a break, water break, bio break, rest break. And rest break is either on your back resting or seated like we are now, or in child's pose, which I'll show you that later. But resting is just taking not a long rest. We just want a few breaths in stillness and then rejoin if you're up to it. So we'll start with just a few minutes of grounding. We've done this before. And what that means is we just bring ourselves into the present moment, into the space that we're physically in. We bring our attention into that space as well. And anything, life things that were, on our minds before, we can leave those at the door, and they will definitely be there waiting for us when we get done with our class. And so we sit in a comfortable way. So you can be, I'm on the floor right now, but you can be on a chair. I have a blanket behind me, a yoga blanket. These are called, they call them Mexican blankets, but they are from Mexico. But the more proper name for them is saddle blankets. But somebody brought some back years ago, and she named them Mexican blankets, but they're really saddle blankets. And I want to give you the correct and appropriate terminology for them. They are from Mexico, but the Mexicans don't even call them Mexico blankets or Mexican blankets. They call them saddle blankets. So we don't want to appropriate and change the names of things when they come from other places. We want to call them what they were named when they were created. So I use this blanket, and it doesn't have to be this kind of blanket, but because this is cotton, it has a certain type of, it's dense but lightweight. It's got a few things going on for it, but any blanket or even a towel. I've used towels when I was out in places that I didn't have a blanket, like in a hotel room. There's a blanket on the bed, but I don't want to put that on the floor. And I just have it under under my butt, the sit bones, just to lift my hips up a little bit, and helps me to straighten my spine. So you can experiment with that at another time, and you have to move it around to find we'll call it the sweet spot. You'll know it when you get there. Don't just shove it under your tush and be like, okay, I'm ready to go. You have to really move it around and sit with it and feel. So when you're in another yoga class, okay, I have my saddle blanket here. I'm going to move it in a way that feels, appropriate and comfortable. It could be, where your hips are actually leaning back, where you're too far back on it and your spine is in a curve. We don't want that. We want it hips lifted and spine. It helps the spine to straighten up a little bit more. So we will first start to focus on our parts of us that are touching something else. So from this cross-leg seated position, I can feel the outsides of both feet touching the floor. I feel one ankle over the other ankle. I feel the blanket under my tush. My thighs are lifted off the floor, so I do notice there's a space between my thighs and the floor. My hands now are on my thighs, and my shoulders are dropped down. My elbows are bent. You can also straighten the arms, drop the hands in front of your knees like this. You can also do that. But we want to lift in the spine, sitting up really tall. Again, noticing the parts of you that are touching something else. Checking out the air on your skin. We do this every week. We're kind of using the senses to just kind of ground ourselves and become aware in the moment. So the air on our skin, and noticing where the skin ends and the air begins. Sounds inside your space. Notice that. Listening for sounds outdoors. Smells around you. Maybe breakfast or coffee or flowers or perfume or incense, essential oil, I don't know, whatever it could be. Have an awareness of that. tastes, I just took a sip of coffee, tastes your toothpaste, coffee, breakfast, maybe nothing. Before that taste of coffee, I've been drinking water, so maybe there's no taste at all. Notice that. Tap your lips together a few times. And then swirl the tip of your tongue on the roof of your mouth, the hard palate. Just notice how that feels. Separate the arches of the teeth and run your tongue around the inside of top and bottom, or bottom and top, doesn't matter. Noticing the surface of the inside of your teeth with the tip of your tongue. So there's a sense of touch again. And then bring your lips together. The clothes you're wearing, how does the fabric feel? Thick, thin, rough, smooth? How does the fabric of whatever you have on from the waist down compare to the fabric on your top or shirt or t-shirt? So my top feels a little, it's polyester, but silkier than my pants. My pants are kind of spandexy or whatever they call it. So there's a different texture of the fabric. So notice that. Take a look around your room again, as if it's your first time in there. So looking with fresh eyes, checking out textures, colors, things. And then come back to stillness. We'll move into our breath. We'll be breathing through the nose as we do always with my class. So we are using big breaths in and out. So big that you feel your torso shifting with each inhale and then shifting back to its neutral position with each exhale. See if you notice that. It's a different way of breathing than when we breathe normally. And normally, most humans breathe very shallow breaths where the chest barely moves, so the lungs don't get really full. And so it's not the most efficient way of breathing because you're not using your full lung capacity and you are losing out on oxygen intake when you don't fill your lungs. And they don't have to fill each time and to the max each time, but throughout your day, you should always think about doing some focused breathing just to exchange. There's old air that sits in the bottom of the lungs. If we don't actively move that out, and it doesn't move out in little chest baby, wimpy little breaths in the chest. So to move out that old air, that old breath, previous breath, and get a big amount of freshly oxygenated air into your system, it goes around via the heart and the blood. And the brain is usually some stage of oxygen deficient because we just don't breathe well. And so think about that. I don't breathe like this all day long, but throughout my day, I do take just a few big breaths throughout the day. Maybe I don't even know if it's every hour, but throughout my day, I make sure. And sometimes it's a way for me to kind of reset from go, rush, especially if I'm at work. I'm like, okay, to myself, I say, I have to just take a moment here. And I just stand in the corner and take some breaths. So think about putting that as having that become a practice of yours. And what a practice means, I guess another word for it is a habit. But in yoga, we use the word or term practice. Like I've been practicing yoga for 20 years. I have a yoga practice. One of my practices is a mindfulness time. So we use the word practice, but it really just means a habit. And it takes between, I've read two things, 21 and 30 days, 21 days to 30 days to start, to break an old habit or to start a new habit where it becomes in your, in the thing that you do as a regular thing, whatever it may be. So that's the numbers I've seen, 21 to 30 days it takes to either break an old habit or get a new habit in your routine where it is part of a practice. What's that word again? So sit up tall. Let's before we start again, let's shake out the legs and arms. And then if you want to recross your legs and put the other one on top or in front, you can do that, or the same one. It's up to you. And we'll start with just some Sufi rolls. These are Sufi, S-U-F-I. And Sufis are mystics. In South, I don't know if they're all around the world, but these were named after them in Southeast Asia. So they were probably seen doing this kind of warm up in the morning, because yoga was created for working all the muscle, then to get still, to meditate. And back, when originally the meditators were meditating for hours. So they would move their bodies, stretch out, move all the muscles, and they'd get still and they'd meditate for 5 hours, sometimes longer. So here we have the Sufi circles or Sufi rolls or Sufi grinds. Those are the three names. I tell you this every week. My friend named Jackie in Florida, and Jackie's traveling today. Safe travels, Jackie. She calls them stir the pots. And so sometimes we modernize the names, just I think it's funny and makes me laugh. So we're circling around, even though the torso's doing all the moving. This is for the hip joints. The thigh bone, the top of it is moving around the hip joint. So even though the torso's moving, doing all the motion, this is to loosen up the hips. Also a little bit of the low spine. So experiment with going really low in your circle and see how that feels. Or you can stay more vertical. It's all good. But I want you to move the breath. So if you're coming forward or leaning forward, I want you to exhale. When you're coming upright or to the back, to the rear, that's the inhale. The lungs are available to be filled up in this position. And then when we come around to the front, we let all the air out. So link your breath with your motion. I'm going to get this camera angle right. And just circle and breathe. Circle and breathe. Circle and breathe. Exhaling when you come forward, inhaling when you come upright or back. You can also, when you come back, hold on to your knees and really lean back. Get a nice stretch in the arms and across the upper back and shoulder blades. So leaning forward hits that low back, the low spine, that's the lumbar curve. And then when you lean back, you're getting a nice stretch across the shoulders, the upper back, and the shoulder blades. And so see how that feels different than just circling. And then come back and go the opposite way. Breathing through the nose, exhaling forward, inhaling up. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. There's no right way, no wrong way to do this. Exhaling forward, moving the breath, inhaling when you sit up. And so with most of the yoga poses, we are linking if there's a motion to it, we're linking the breath and the motion. If it's one of the poses where we're holding still, we're moving the breath while we hold still. Okay, so we're always thinking about the breathing, and that's the oxygenating of the body in a very focused way, not just happenstance of, yeah, I'm breathing, I'm alive, but really moving the breath. Come back to center, twist to your right. So bring the left hand over to the right. Normally I have the right hand behind us on fingertips or flat palm. Today I want you to wrap the right hand over to the left hip. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm bringing my right arm all the way around me to the left hip. This is called a wrap, an arm wrap in this case. There are different wraps in yoga. And so hold here, twisting to the right. And if you may notice something in your right shoulder cap, a stretch is what it is. If you feel that, if you don't feel it, it's nothing to worry about. It's just, that's the target area of this wrapping back, wrapping the arm back would be the shoulder caps on each side, depending on what side we're on. So hold here, twist as far as you can to the right. Move your head left and right, slowly, sit up really tall. Check your shoulders, make sure they're dropped down. Shoulder blades down. Breath is moving smoothly. And then let's release that. Notice how everything feels as we rebound, the muscles rebound and we go to the other side. So this time the left hand wraps around toward the right hip. We're twisting over to the left, sit up straight and twist. So imagine each inhale getting a little taller and each exhale twisting a little more. Breathe here. If you'd like to move the head, you may. So I noticed that my right shoulder felt tighter in that wrap than the left. The right shoulder was in a horse riding accident. So it's not the same range of motion as the left side, but it's doing fine. That was 19 years ago, but it's more tender in some positions. So, and then come back to center. We'll go back to the first side, and again wrap the right arm behind, left hand to right knee. Sit up tall and twist. You may move your head or not, your choice. So traditionally in this pose, let's see. I always forget the traditional because I don't teach it like that. I want us to be comfortable in our own body. I think we'd be looking on this side, we'd be looking over the left shoulder, I think. But for me, I want you to find a position that's comfortable. Sometimes the opposition of twisting one way and looking the other is uncomfortable for a lot of our necks. And so we don't want to make that an uncomfortable situation or perhaps injure your neck. So just position it where it's comfortable. We'll go to the other side. So right hand to left knee, bring the left hand back and around toward the right hip, fingertips, left fingertips toward the right hip. Twisting to the left, and you can again position your head. So on this side, traditionally, you'd be looking over the right shoulder, but you might want to look straight out in the direction of your heart. You might want to look over the left shoulder. Try it out, see which one works. So we adapt the poses to fit our bodies, not some picture that I learned when I was in training that this is what Warrior 2 looks like. It must look like this on everybody that's in front of you. Those days of teaching like that have come pretty much to an end because we want the person and not the pose. We want the person to be able to get into the pose and not forcing the person into the shape. Come back to center. Let's do some more circles. If you want to recross your legs, you can. So circling and exhaling, leaning forward, inhaling back. And then coming back to stillness. I've got cat fur all over me right now. Extend your legs out in a V shape. My feet are flexed up. So even though you can't see them, my toes are pointing upward. Hard flex on the feet. And that turns on the muscles of the legs. I want you to lift your chest and walk forward. And come as far forward as you can. Try to keep your back straight. So we want a little feedback in the thighs, but we don't want it to be painful. So if the way you have your legs open is painful, bring them together just a little inch by inch, and find you want a little resistance there, but it should not be painful. So find your spot for your feet, position of your legs, and move forward with your chest lifted and your back flat. You may be on fingertips. When we use our fingertips in yoga for different poses, like when we did the twist, and sometimes I have your fingertips behind you, it is strengthening the muscles of the fingers. I'm putting weight on my fingertips right now in this shape. You may do palms flat, fingers spread wide, palms flat. You may, if you can access forearms. You can come down, try to keep the chest lifted. I'm gonna stay with fingertips because my inner hamstrings are really tight. So I could bring my legs closer together, but I'm just gonna stay on fingertips. So find what suits you and hold there. We're gazing down toward the floor. So once you get situated, you don't have to look up at the camera and put a crimp in your neck. You can look down toward the floor. So your neck is long and back. Toes are lifted. Check your jaw. Make sure your jaw is loose. We're not grimacing or grinding our teeth. Just have neutral facial muscles. The jaw will flex unconsciously. So we want to work on that, checking that it's not flexing, because it over time can mess up your dental work and your jaw, your actual jaw. Not dental work. It can mess up your teeth in the back of your mouth and also your jaw. Let's walk hands over to the left side. So one hand on either side of the left leg, and bring the hands, push them out as far as you can toward the feet, toward the left foot. We want to keep the right butt up. It might lift a little and then you lose your stretch, right? And so we come back with the hands a little until the butt is planted on the ground or on the mat. Hold here, look down at the left knee so the neck is relaxed. Check your toes, toes pointing up toward the sky. Hold here and twist your torso to the left so that your torso is sort of facing the top of the left thigh as best you can. Twist here and breathe. And then we'll walk our hands across in front to the right leg. One hand on either side of the right leg. Turn the torso to the right. The left butt might lift. Come up a little bit with the hands if the left butt lifts off the floor. Look down at the right knee. Notice the stretching on the left side of your body around the waist and the rib cage. See if you feel anything. If you don't feel anything, that is perfect. Take 2 more breaths. Check to make sure feet are flexed. Walking over to the first side again. I want you to place your left forearm either outside the left leg, on top of the left shin, or in front of the left leg. So you can experiment with where to put your forearm. Bring the right hand to shoulder, turn the right hand to hip. Right hand to hip, and bring back the right shoulder. That's what I was trying to say. So this is a twist, a different kind of twist. We're leaning all the way over to the left. I have my left arm outside my left leg onto the floor, but you can come up a little and put it on the shin, or make the opening of the legs not so wide by bringing your left forearm in front of the left leg, on the front side of the left leg. To me, being in the front of it is a little bit of a deeper twist. I don't know if that's just my imagination, but try them all 3 and see which one you like, and then get there and then hold there. So settle in. Once you find where you want to put your forearm, settle in there. Right shoulder's back, right hand on hip. You can look, traditionally we would be looking up. That is a lot for some of our necks. You can look out towards your device or down toward the left knee, and you choose. Smooth breath. Then release the right hand with walking over to the left side. Noticing how it feels on the right side rib cage. So right arm either inside, right forearm inside right leg, on top of right shin, outside right leg, left hand to left hip, left shoulder back. So the left shoulder is going to want to curve forward. You want to pull it back. Make sure the left butt is on the mat, on the floor. You need to come up a little bit to make that happen. Come up a little bit. You lose the stretch when that opposite buttocks lifts off the floor. You lose the stretch. So plant it back down and hold there. Get into the shape and hold there. You can look up toward the ceiling, out toward your device, or down toward your right knee, or you can move your head from side to side. Your choice. Breathe through the nose. Feet are flexed. Check your facial muscles if they're neutral. And then lower the left hand down. We're gonna go forward again. So fingertips, palms, or forearms, you may choose. Look down toward the floor. Toes are facing up. So this seated forward bend is really good if you have a tight low back, if you suffer from having a lot of tension in your low back. Any of these seated bends are really good for that. Also, you can do this in a chair, just sitting down normally and forward bending in the chair. Let's walk hands up. Bring both feet. Let's shake out legs first. We're like that for quite a few minutes. With windshield wiper your feet and your hands, wrists, arms, shake. And then bring your feet together. Soles of the feet touch. This is called butterfly pose or cobbler pose. I say this every week, not peach cobbler, because one time one of my students said, like peach cobbler? I'm like, no, not like peach cobbler. Like shoemaker cobbler person. So you can find where it feels the most therapeutic to your body by adjusting your feet close to your torso or away, halfway away, or more away, or more away. One of the position you'll find, you have to experiment when you practice yoga. Don't just go through what the teacher says go through. Find where it feels the best to you. It will feel right to you.
I really don't have time for this.
Okay. And so position your feet. I like mine closer to my torso. So this is butterfly pose. Hold here and just take some breath. This is a hip opener and good for your good stretch for the muscles on the inner thighs, the inner hamstring muscles. Sit up really tall. If you want to massage your feet while we're here, it's a little bonus time. Massage your feet. The arch between separate the toes, massage between the toes, wiggle the toes and the feet. Get the ball of the foot, a little bit of foot worship here. The heels, Achilles tendon, that thick sheath of muscle that goes from the calf down to the heel bone. Massage that, and then let's exhale forward. Look down towards your feet. Hang on, let's go. I think somebody's mic is on. If you could mute the mic, please. Thank you. Looking down towards your feet. And inhale, come up. Left leg out to a left angle. That was an inhale, sorry. Inhale there. Exhale, lean forward. Inhale, come up. Bring the left foot in to meet your right foot. Exhale, right leg out, lean forward. Inhale, come up, butterfly. Left leg out, exhale. Inhale, come up to butterfly. Right leg out and exhale. Inhale, come up to butterfly. This time, left leg straight out and exhale. Inhale up to butterfly. Right leg straight out and exhale. Inhale up to butterfly. Right leg straight out. Left leg straight out, exhale. Inhale up to butterfly. Right leg straight out, exhale. Leave the right leg out, sit up, and then extend the left leg out. So both feet are straight. You can have them tight together if you want. I like mine a little bit apart so my thighs can lift freely. And just exhale forward and hold. Look down, hands up on the outside of the legs. Look down toward between your knees. So look down between your knees to your mat or to the floor and lean forward here. So this is another seated forward bend, really good for low back, challenged low back area, tension. It comes from gravity pulling us down sometimes. sitting on not the most supportive furniture or sleeping on not the most supportive mattress. Also poor posture. Our low back takes a beating with poor posture. So sitting here, leaning forward, hands flat on the floor. Take some breaths. Inhale, lift both arms up. We'll do 5 of these. So we're sitting up like an L-shaped human being. Arms are straight, legs are straight. Exhale down. This is called staff pose. Not necessarily with the arms up, but just sitting in an L shape is called staff pose, like walking stick. Exhale forward. 3 more. Inhale, lift. Reach up tall each time you come up. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. This is the last one coming up here. Breathe in, sit up tall. Exhale down, and we're gonna hold again. So hands on the outsides of the legs, look down between your knees. Smooth breath. And then walk your hands up. Shake out arms and legs. We're gonna come to our knees, cat, cow. So we'll start in table pose. So this would be another, let me show you about if your knees are tender and sensitive on your yoga mat, you can always fold your mat into thirds. So that triples the cushioniness of it. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. And put your knees there. Okay, or you could, if you have access to the towel or the blanket, like I mentioned before, you can put your legs, the lower leg, all the way on the blanket. So not just the knees, but the whole lower leg. So this is called table pose, box pose in some circles, and tabletop pose in some circles. I just call it table. Although I do like box pose. Ladies that teach, people that teach in Texas use the term box pose. So sometimes I use that just because I like it and it's different for me. Anyway, same thing though. Hips and knees are over, a hip is over the knee. So there's a vertical line here and there's a vertical line with the shoulder, elbow, shoulders, elbows, wrists. Sometimes our wrists are sensitive, so I'd like a vertical line on the arms if possible. If that's too much for your wrist, just slide the hand away from the knee a couple times and see how that feels. And so here's table. We're pushing away from the floor. Our arms are straight. Pull your belly button in. We'll start with cow shape. So belly drops toward the floor. Lift your butt. Lift the tailbone and hold here. Lift your chest and lift your chin a tiny bit. I don't want the head really cranked backwards, so lift the chin a little. We're gonna hold here and keep breathing here. So this is cow shape. And let's rock the hips side to side while we're in this shape and see how that feels. So this is cat. We're doing cat, cows. This is the cow of that shape. So hips rock side to side. Your back is deeply arched. Your chest is lifted, you're pressing into the floor. You're not just on hands and knees, you're pushing the floor away from you to engage the muscles of the arms, and then come back to stillness. Hold here, take some more breaths. So we're allowing the muscles to lengthen and release. The reason why I have us holding this shape, typically cat-cow is done much faster with breath and motion together. I just want to warm this up for a couple of times. Then let's go to cat. So Halloween cat, push the spine up toward the ceiling. Push the hands away, push the hands into the floor. Tuck your chin towards your chest. This is an exhale shape. So first we would exhale, then we're holding here, so keep breathing. So lifting the spine up into a curl of your spine, a curl the opposite way of the cow. This is the cat shape. Push and breathe. Chin to chest. And let's reverse into cow. Inhale, chest lifts, chin lifts a little, arch your back. Take some breaths. This is cow shape. We move into cat shape. Exhale, lift the spine, chin to chest. We're gonna hold here and continue to breathe. Then we'll go in real time. So we go cat, breathe in. I'm sorry, cow, breathe in. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Inhale cow. Exhale cat. Inhale cow. Exhale cat. One more round. Inhale cow. Exhale cat. Just circle the hips. So whatever feels nice, you can dip down, tush all the way to the heels and circle. We already rocked the hip side to side. If you like that, you can do that again. You can dip the shoulders, bend the elbows, dip one shoulder, come up, and then dip the other shoulder, come up. Just experiment with what feels nice. So these are hip circles, but we're kind of going freestyle a little bit. You can look back. I'm looking back to my left foot. Then I'm looking back to my right foot. So back, you can try that one. Looking back to the each foot, side to side. Whatever feels good for you. We'll come back to box pose. And I want you to just curl your toes under. This is kind of a challenging feeling, but it's good for your feet. And just lean your tush back toward your feet, your heels. Okay, this is a lovely stretch for your feet. They never go in this shape. So it might not be really comfortable at first. I used to hate this pose, this shape of feet. And my yoga teacher would have us do it. Eventually it stopped annoying me, but it used to really like grind my gears. I hated it. She'd also have us come sit up like this, which I really hated this, but it took time. My feet got over it. I did not die and it was okay. But this is an excellent foot stretch. We never have our foot in this shape. So this opens up the bones, opens up the muscles, and just stay here. As if you need hands on the floor, do that. Keep the breath moving. Don't gnash your jaw. Don't gnash your teeth. You won't be here forever. Relax the jaw, smooth out your breathing. And then come back to table pose. I want you to slide, I'm gonna face the camera. I want you to slide your right knee in the direction of your right wrist and then slide the left foot back. I'm gonna turn sideways in a minute. This is called pigeon. So this is a hip opener. Come down as low as you can. It doesn't matter how low you come. The arms are straight, palms are flat, fingers are spread. This is pigeon pose. This is a hip opener. We're on the top. I'm going to turn sideways. We're on the top of the back leg all the way to the toes. So the left foot the heel will want to flop outward. We want to keep on top of the left leg. So as I said, we're sliding the right knee toward the right wrist, and then I'm lifting the left leg and sliding backwards. I'm staying on top of my left leg. The left foot's going to want, it's called sickling. Want to sickle out, you want to keep it on top and perch yourself up to where you're comfortable. If you would like to come down on forearms, you can do that. Some may want to stack hands and come all the way down, forehead on the hands. So those are the options. Anyone will do for me. You can pick what works for you. So chest is lifted. If you're up on the arms, straight arms, lift your chest. Stay on top of the left leg. Pigeon pose. Hold here and breathe. And then come back to back to table. So slide the right knee down into table pose. We'll bring the left knee up toward the left wrist. Cross the left leg a little bit across your yoga mat, and then slide down the right leg. And on top of the right leg, the top of the right foot is on the floor versus the heel flopping outward. You want to stay on top. And then here with straight arms, you can bring the forearms down if you want. You can stack your hands and bring your forehead down to your hands. You pick. Chest is lifted high if you're up on straight arms. Take 2 more breaths. And then come back to table. Let's do a couple of cat-cows here. So I'm gonna start with cow. You can start with whichever one, but do four sets of cat-cows in your own time. Come back to center. You can also do cat-cows in a chair. It's called seated cat-cows, okay? So we're gonna move to down dog. Curl your toes under like we did before. Inhale and lift your butt up toward the sky. Lift your left leg. This is called three-legged dog. It doesn't have to be lifted high. It's wherever you lift it, it's good. Lower the left leg, lift the right leg. Lower the right foot. Lower your heels and then tippy toe up. So breathing in on the tippy toe, exhaling when you bring the heels down near the floor. Do that a few times. So they say that down dog is a resting pose. Come down to table. And if you can sit in hero's pose, sit in hero's pose. This is hero's pose or Shiro's pose. On the tops of the feet or with the feet turned, toes turned under like we did before. This is hero's pose. If you can't get comfortable in that, we can do, I mentioned this before, child's pose. So we separate the knees really wide to make room for our torso to fit. Bring the big toes together, sit back. So my knees are really wide. My big toes are touching and I sit back and I come down. You can come to your forearms. You can bring your hands, stacked hands, forehead on the hands. You can stack fists, forehead on the fists. You can come flat out. This one is the traditional way of doing this. Flat out, forehead on the mat, arms straight. Sometimes the straight arms are not comfortable. We can bend the arms. It's called cactus arms. It looks like this, but we're laying down. So you can bend your elbows so that your shoulders are not so uncomfortable. You can also, this is the last one, bring your hands down by your ankles. So pick where you want to place your hands and arms. So this is why I say I make yoga accessible and we adapt it to our bodies. So the traditional way with the arms straight over your head, many people are not comfortable in that with arms like that. They do it, but it doesn't feel good. So why do it? So we can bend the elbows and make it feel better. You can stack the hands, flat hand palms, and put the forehead down. That might feel better. You can stack the fists and put the forehead there. That might feel better. Or bringing the arms back by your hands back by your ankles. That might feel better. So we have to, again, try them out so that you know, we do this pose. This is where it feels the best for me. Okay. And so from child's pose, we're coming back to table. We're going back to down dog. So curl your toes, lift your tush, inhale, and adjust your feet. Make them comfortable distance for your body. Lift the left leg again. Touch the left toes to the right knee. Lift the left leg again. Touch left toes to right. I said right knee. I meant right heel. We'll do those again. Lift the left leg, left toes, right heel. We'll do two more. Lift the left leg. Exhale, left toes to right heel. We'll switch sides. Left foot down. Lift the right leg. Right toes touch left heel. Two more. Lift, touch. One more. Lift, touch. Right foot on the mat. Go down into table. Let's go straight into child's pose. So separate the knees wide, toes touch, and choose your arms for child's pose. Check in with your breath. So smooth it out. Even if you're breathing hard, make sure that the breath is coming in and out in a smooth way. Control your breathing. Walk your hands out, extend the arms in child's pose and arms out to the right. And so this is a stretch for the left body, left side body. Hold here. And then walk hands over to the left in child's pose, stretching for the right side body. And then come back to center and then come to table. We're gonna go flat out on our bellies. Let me turn this way. So this is called prostrate, not prostate, not the male gland. That's the prostate. This is prostrate, meaning we surrender. We've seen this at altars where people get down on their front and just stretch out in front of whatever, the altar, the statue, the person, whatever. So this is called prostrate, P-O-S-T-R-A-T-E. And of course, I'm getting a phone call right now. Why is that? Okay, here we are. So prostrate, T-R-A-T-E is the last part of that word. Stack your hands, put your forehead down on your hands. Bend your knees and then windshield wiper your legs side to side. And notice, to keep our focus, just notice the contact of your front body on your mat as you go from side to side. So this is a nice way to release the low back. Just easy side to sides with the legs. Forehead on the stacked hands. And then come back, lower the legs. We'll move into table, a little flow here. That's an inhale, exhale to down dog. Inhale through table, back out flat down, arms above your head. Exhale there. Inhale to table. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale to table. Exhale, prostrate. Inhale to table, last one. Exhale to child. Inhale to table. Exhale to prostrate. Prostrate, hold here, stack the hands under the forehead and bend the knees again and move the legs together from side to side. And then we're going to just flip over on our backs. So whatever means it takes you to get onto your back, I'm gonna actually spin my legs around so that I'm facing the camera, but come onto your back. We'll go into final rest. Extended final rest. Bring your right knee to chest and hold on. Circle the right knee. You can use the right hand for support. Right knee circles. Reverse the right knee circling. And then twisting to the left. So we bring the right knee across the torso to the left and keep the right shoulder on the floor on your mat. Right arm is straight out from the shoulder. Left hand touches the outside of the right knee. And hold. This is a supine. That means on your back in fancy anatomy language. Supine twist. Or supine spinal twist. And then come onto your back, lower the right leg. Exhale, left knee to chest and hold. And circle the left knee. We're going both directions, so pick a direction, circle. And then reverse the direction of the circle. Oh no, of course I spilled, of course I did. And then we're gonna do a side twist. So the left knee comes across the right, twisting. Left knee comes across the torso, twisting to the right. And hold there while I get a paper towel. Breathe here, twist. And then come back onto your back on a breath in, lower the left leg. Go into corpse pose. So a couple things about corpse pose. This is traditional corpse, laying right on your back, arms away from your torso, palms up. Feet flap open naturally. You can also do feet on the mat wide, knees touching, so they support each other. You can do that. That's really nice for the low back. Gives the low back a little bit of a break. You can do side corpse pose. So knees to chest, turn onto your favorite side, and bottom arm is a pillow. Some of us have difficulty laying out on our back because it's a very vulnerable, open position of the body. And so we don't want to cause any discomfort, activation, trigger. So we just go on our side. You can also do Shavasana seated upright like me. And so wherever you are, we start the way we started before. Noticing the air on our skin. Noticing any smells around us. Noticing our breath. When you take your next breath in, bring your arms up overhead. Big, big stretch. The biggest stretch of the morning. You can circle your wrists and ankles. Point and flex your feet if you want. Flex and release your fingers and hands. Exhale, bring knees to chest and hold in a little ball. When you're ready, turn onto one side and hold there in a little ball. Move the bottom arm out of the way so that you can rest your head on the bottom arm. And take a couple of breaths here in the embryo shape. And then when you're ready, come back up to seated cross-leg pose or easy pose. When you're ready, no rush. And I'll leave you with this. First of all, thank you for coming to class, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. And I'll leave you with this. May you be happy. May your life have meaning. And may you be an instrument for social change. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, June. Take care of yourself. Hi, Evelyn. Thank you,
Hi,
Iman.
Evelyn.
I'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone.